All right, close your eyes for a second. Picture this. You're standing on a pedestal, bathed in light. Someone's sketching your every line.
Mm.
But no, not your phone's portrait mode.
Right.
You're an art model, bringing an artist's vision to life.
Wow. Yeah.
So today, we're taking a deep dive into this surprisingly demanding and often misunderstood career using these insights from RoleCatcher.com's in-depth guides.
It really is fascinating, isn't it? There's this instant connection to art history, to those iconic poses, the ones we see in paintings and sculptures.
Totally. But I think a lot of us might have some misconceptions about what the job actually entails.
Oh, for sure.
It's not just about nudity,
Right.
although that can be a part of it.
Yeah.
It's about the human form
Mm.
and all its complexities,
Yes.
serving as a reference point for drawing, painting, sculpture, even photography.
Exactly. Think of Degas ballerinas, like capturing that ephemeral grace,
Yeah.
That takes an art model who really gets movement and form, or Rodin's The Thinker.
Oh, yeah.
That sculpture wouldn't exist without a model who could embody deep contemplation.
That's a really cool way to think about it.
Yeah.
So you're not just a body, you're a collaborator.
Right.
You're helping the artist translate these ideas into a tangible form.
Yes.
But what does a typical day actually look like for an art model?
Right?
I imagine it's a far cry from a typical office gig.
You're telling me, forget the water cooler gossip.
Right.
You might find yourself in a traditional art studio.
Okay.
A bustling classroom, even outdoors, braving the elements for the perfect shot.
Wow. Talk about dedication to your craft.
Oh, yeah.
But let's get real about the physical demands.
Okay.
This isn't just striking a pose for a few seconds. We're talking about holding positions,
Yeah.
often challenging ones,
Yeah.
for extended periods.
Absolutely. Imagine holding Warrior 3 pose, but for an hour.
Right.
That's the kind of discipline art modeling demands.
Wow.
It requires incredible endurance, core strength, and body awareness.
So yoga or Pilates experience could actually come in handy here.
It's a huge plus.
No.
And not just for the physical stamina, but being able to control your breath, to find stillness even in discomfort.
Yeah.
That translates to mental focus, which is essential when you're holding a pose for an extended period.
Right. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
This physical endurance also translates to mental resilience.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not just holding a pose, you're
Yeah.
putting yourself out there, literally and figuratively, for the artist to interpret.
And that requires a certain level of emotional intelligence, right? You're working collaboratively with the artist, taking direction, and sometimes receiving feedback that might not always be easy to hear.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
It's not just about looking the part.
Right.
It's about embodying the art itself,
Yes.
which requires this unique blend of physical and mental strength.
And let's not forget the importance of, clear communication. The artist is relying on you to understand their vision and bring it to life through your poses and expressions.
Yeah.
It's a silent dialogue, in a way.
So it's much more collaborative than people might realize.
Right.
Okay, we've talked about kind of the unique demands of the job, but what about the perks? I mean, besides getting to hang out in art studios all day.
Well, that's definitely a plus.
Right.
But there's also a certain creative fulfillment that comes with contributing to the artistic process,
Right.
You're part of bringing something new into the world, and that can be incredibly rewarding.
It's like you're a living, breathing work of art yourself.
There you go.
And I imagine there's a lot of flexibility in the schedule, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're often able to set your own hours and choose the projects that interest you.
Right.
But, and this is something aspiring models should be aware of,
Yeah.
that flexibility often comes with less stability.
Right. So let's be real about the challenges. What are some of the downsides that someone considering this career path should be prepared for?
Well, income can be inconsistent, especially when you're first starting out.
Right.
It really depends on your location, experience, and the types of gigs you book.
Makes sense.
And job security isn't exactly a guarantee. It's a competitive field.
Yeah.
And building a steady stream of work takes time and effort.
It sounds like building a strong portfolio is key.
It is.
What does that actually entail for an art model?
So
Is it just about having a bunch of photos of yourself in different poses?
it's a bit more nuanced than that.
Okay.
A good portfolio showcases your versatility.
Okay.
Think different types of poses, nude, closed, character work.
Got it.
Then you'll want to demonstrate your ability to work with various mediums, painting, sculpture, photography, each with its own unique demands.
Right.
And don't forget about showcasing how different lighting can affect the final product.
So you really have to think like an artist yourself.
Yes.
Understanding how your body can be used as a tool to create these different effects.
Exactly. And just like any creative field, networking is crucial.
Right.
Attending workshops, connecting with artists online and in person.
Yeah.
These are all important for getting your name and your look out there.
And I imagine online platforms like those offered by RoleCatcher.com come in handy for that.
Absolutely. These platforms act as hubs for art models and artists to connect, share work, and even find gigs.
So even though technology is changing so many industries, it hasn't completely replaced the need for real-life models in the art world.
Not at all. While some artists are embracing digital tools, nothing truly replicates the nuances of the living, breathing human form.
Right.
The subtle shifts in weight, the way light plays on the contours of the body. These are things that technology, at least for now, can't fully capture.
There's an energy exchange that happens
Yes.
between the artist and the model. A spark of inspiration that just hits differently in person.
Precisely. And for many artists, that connection, that tangible presence, is an essential part of the creative process.
Okay, so we've established that this isn't your grandma's career fair.
It's not your average 9 to 5, that's for sure.
But for someone out there thinking, hey, maybe I could do this. What are the essential skills needed to excel? Is it all about physical appearance?
That's a common misconception.
Yeah.
While physical stamina and body awareness are important, they're only part of the equation.
Right.
Communication is key.
Okay.
Being able to understand the artist's instructions and translate them into a pose.
Right.
And you need a certain level of professionalism,
Right.
showing up on time, being prepared,
Right.
and being respectful of the artist's time and creative vision.
It's like any job.
Yeah.
Talent is important, but so are those kind of soft skills that make you someone people want to work with.
Exactly. And here's another myth buster. You don't have to have a perfect body type to be an art model. In fact, artists are often drawn to unique features,
Interesting.
interesting bone structures, and bodies that tell a story.
That's really refreshing to hear because ultimately art is about capturing the essence of being human in all its diversity.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that's what makes art modeling such a rewarding experience. You're not just a pretty face or a chiseled physique.
Right.
You're a collaborator, a muse, helping to bring a creative vision to life.
And speaking of bringing visions to life, what about the artist-model relationship? That has to be built on trust, especially when you're dealing with, potentially vulnerable situations.
Absolutely. Open communication is essential.
Right.
Before a session begins, a professional model will typically discuss the artist's expectations, the type of poses involved,
Right.
and any boundaries or concerns they might have.
So it's about setting clear boundaries from the get-go and making sure everyone's on the same page.
Exactly. And a good artist will create a safe and respectful environment where the model feels comfortable communicating their needs.
Yeah.
It's a collaborative process.
Right.
And that collaboration extends to ensuring the model feels safe and respected throughout.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about, getting started.
Okay.
Let's say someone's heard all this and they're intrigued.
Yeah.
What are the first steps they should take? Besides practicing their Warrior 3 pose, of course.
Well, they've already got you for career advice, so that's a good start.
Right.
But seriously, research is key.
Okay.
Online resources like RoleCatcher.com
Yeah.
are great places to learn about the industry, connect with other models and artists, and even find gigs.
They've got those FAQs, right?
Yes.
Covering everything from average rates to what to wear to a go-see.
Exactly.
Cool.
And don't underestimate the power of real-world experience.
Okay.
Taking art classes, attending life drawing sessions. These are all great ways to familiarize yourself with the environment and observe how models work.
So immerse yourself in the art world, even if you're not the one holding the paintbrush just yet.
Exactly.
And what about that classic career ladder? Does that even exist in the art modeling world?
That's a great question.
Or does, moving up look different in this profession?
It's not your typical corporate ladder, that's for sure.
Right.
Advancement might involve building a reputation for reliability and professionalism,
Okay.
leading to more consistent bookings and higher paying gigs.
So word of mouth recommendations are gold in this field.
Absolutely. And as you gain experience, you might even specialize in certain types of modeling.
Yep.
Some models focus on fine art, others on photography or sculpture. There's even a growing demand for models who specialize in live events or performance art.
Wow, so there's a surprising amount of diversity within this field.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not just one size fits all.
Not at all. And you can even explore related career paths. Some art models transition into teaching,
Yeah.
sharing their knowledge of posing and anatomy with aspiring artists.
Right.
Others use their experience as a springboard to become artists themselves.
Sounds like a career that can spark a lot of creative exploration,
It is.
both for the model and the artist.
Absolutely. And that's what makes it so fascinating.
Yeah.
It's a constant interplay between the human form,
Right.
artistic expression,
Yeah.
and the search for deeper meaning.
Okay, so we've covered the practical aspects of the job, the skills, the challenges, the pathways to success.
We have.
But before we wrap things up,
Okay.
I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier.
Yeah.
The idea that art modeling isn't just about physical beauty.
Right.
It's about capturing the essence of being human.
Yes.
What does that mean to you? What does that mean to you?
That's a question that's intrigued artists for centuries, hasn't it?
Yeah.
From Michelangelo's David to Lucian Freud's portraits.
Right.
We see artists grappling with this idea of representing, not just the outward form, but something deeper, something essential about the human experience.
Right. Is it about idealized beauty? Or is it about capturing, like, the raw, unfiltered human form?
Right.
Is it about vulnerability, strength,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe even the passage of time kind of etched onto our bodies?
It can be all of those things and more.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the vulnerability of a model, right?
Yeah.
Holding a pose that might feel awkward
Right.
or exposing.
Yeah.
There's a bravery in that act of surrendering to the artist's gaze, allowing them to capture,
Mm-hmm.
not just your physical form, but a certain emotional rawness.
That's such a powerful insight. And it makes me think about how we, I guess, as humans,
Right.
are constantly interpreting and being interpreted
Mm-hmm.
through our bodies, even outside of the art world.
Yes.
The way we stand, the way we move, the
Absolutely.
expressions on our faces,
Yes.
they all tell a story.
They do. They do.
Yeah.
And art modeling, in a way, distills that process down to its essence. It's about stripping away, artifice
Right.
and revealing something true,
Yeah.
something universal about the human experience.
It's like you're giving form to emotions,
Yes.
to ideas that might otherwise remain abstract.
Yes.
And by doing so, you're inviting the viewer to connect with those emotions on a
Yeah.
deeper level.
Precisely.
Wow.
And it makes you wonder if artists throughout history have relied on models to explore these complex themes, right?
Right.
How does this profession contribute to our understanding of the human form and our place in the world, even beyond the canvas?
It's a bit mind-blowing when you think about it that way.
It is.
So as you go about your day-to-day, maybe catching a glimpse of yourself in a shop window or noticing the way someone carries themselves on the street, take a moment to consider, what story is your body telling? And what would it look like to be a part of that artistic dialogue, that exploration of what it means to be human? Who knows? Maybe you have what it takes to be art's next muse. This has been another deep dive.
It has.
See you next time.